Is that car of yours feeling more like a sauna on wheels every summer? Does that air conditioning, even when you crank the fan to hurricane force, just seem to sigh, breathing out air that's barely cooler than the pavement? You feel that sticky vinyl, that hot leather, and you know a trip to the shop is coming. And what happens? You go to a dealership or some quick lube place, and a guy in a clean polo shirt sucks his teeth, looks at a clipboard, and quotes you $800, maybe $1,000. They'll use big words like compressor failure, full system evacuation, or condenser replacement. They are banking on your desperation in the summer heat. Here's the truth. From someone who's been under the hood for 30 years, your system probably isn't broken. It's not dead. It's just being choked, starved, neglected, and sabotaged. It's being held back by a dozen tiny, simple problems that the shops will never tell you about, because there's no money in a $10 fix. Today, I'm going to show you 15 distinct tricks that will make your AC system blow colder than it did the day it rolled off the assembly line. Most of these fixes cost less than $15. Several of them are completely 100% free. They just cost you a few minutes. And stick with me to the end, because that final tip, it's one single hidden screw buried deep in your dash that is silently leaking heat into your cabin all year long, and it's sabotaging everything else you try to do. But before we pop the hood and get our hands dirty, do me one solid. If you believe in saving your hard-earned money and doing the job right yourself, prove it. Hit that like button right now. It feeds the algorithm and it tells me you're one of us. And more importantly, subscribe to this channel and click that bell. I am dropping professional-grade knowledge like this every single week, and missing just one of these videos could be the difference between a free fix and a car payment spent at the dealership. Alright, school is in session. Let's get to work. First up, trick number 15. Use the recirculation mode, and use it correctly. Let's start with the one button on your dash that 90% of drivers completely misunderstand. It's that little icon of a car with a U-turn arrow inside it. That is your recirculation button, and it is the single most powerful tool you have for a fast cool down. Most people just press it thinking it's some kind of max AC or power button, but they don't understand the physics of why it works. Here is the engineering, plain and simple. When you do not have that light on, you are in fresh air mode. On a 90-degree day, your car is sucking in 90-degree, 70% humidity air from the outside. Every single second, your AC system, that little evaporator core behind your dash, has to fight a never-ending battle against the sun. It's like trying to cool your house in July with every single window and door wide open. It's a losing proposition. That evaporator core, which is just a small radiator, has two jobs, not one. Job 1 is to cool the air, which we call removing sensible heat. Job 2, and this is the one that takes all the energy, is to pull the moisture out of that air. We call that removing latent heat. It has to literally condense that humidity into water, which is why you see water dripping under your car. That process saps a massive amount of cooling power. The very second you press that recirculation button, a little door inside your HVAC box closes and it shuts off the outside world. Now, your AC system is no longer breathing in 90-degree jungle air. It's breathing the air already inside your car. It takes that 85-degree air and makes it 80. Then it takes that 80-degree air and makes it 75. Then 75 and makes it 70. It is a compounding, exponential effect. You are recooling air that is already cooled and, more importantly, already dehumidified. The workload on your compressor, the engine of your AC system, plummets. We are talking a 50% reduction in the time it takes to get your cabin from oven to comfortable. I have personally put thermometers in vents and watched them drop from a pathetic 60 degrees down to 42 degrees in less than 3 minutes, all from this one button. This isn't just about your comfort. This is about the longevity of your components. You are cutting the compressor's workload in half. That is less wear and tear. That is less fuel being burned to run it. If you drive an electric vehicle, this is non-negotiable. Using recirculation can cut your HVAC energy consumption by over 30, sometimes even 40%. That's not a small number. On a long trip, that's 20, maybe 30 extra miles of range just from pushing one button. And let's not forget the health benefits. You're sitting in gridlock traffic, you are breathing the raw, unburnt fuel and NOx pollution from the tailpipe of the semi-truck in front of you. You're breathing brake dust, pollen, and smog. Hit that recirculation button button. You just activated your cabin's shield. It stops that pollution from coming in. Now, here is the one mechanic's caveat, the reason people get confused. Do not use this button 24/7 in the winter. When it's cold and rainy and you have 4 people in the car, all that human breathing will fog up the windows instantly. In that one scenario, you need to turn recirc off to pull in dry, fresh air to clear the glass. But for 99% of your hot weather driving, your hand should go from the ignition key to starting the car to pressing that recirculation button. It is free horsepower. It is free cold air. Use it. Trick number 14. Seal the radiator to condenser gap. This right here is one of my all-time favorite fixes because it's a true insider secret. It diagnoses a problem that drives people crazy and that most shops will just try to sell you a compressor for. Here is the symptom. Your AC blows ice cold, like a meat locker, when you're doing 65 miles an hour on the highway. But the second you pull off the exit ramp and hit that first red light, you feel it. It starts to get warmer. The air gets stale. By the time the light turns green, you're sweating, and the AC is blowing lukewarm. You think, my compressor is weak, or I must be low on Freon. Wrong. The problem isn't your refrigerant. The problem is airflow. I want you to go pop your hood. Get a flashlight. Look down in that narrow space between the front of your engine's radiator and the back of your AC condenser. The condenser always sits in front of the radiator because it's the first thing the air needs to hit. Now, think about this. At highway speed, you have a 65-mile-per-hour wind jamming its way through the front grille, forcing itself through the fins of that condenser and ripping the heat out of the refrigerant inside. The system doesn't even have to try. But the moment you stop in traffic, you are relying 100% on your electric cooling fans. Those fans are mounted on the back of the radiator, and their job is to pull air from the front, through the condenser, then through the radiator, and into the engine bay. Now look at that gap again. If there is a ½ inch or even a 1-inch gap between the side of the condenser and the side of the radiator, where do you think that air is going to go? Air is lazy. It always takes the path of least resistance. Instead of fighting its way through those thousands of tiny condenser fins, it's just going to get sucked right through that open gap. That means your fan is spinning at full speed, burning electricity, making a ton of noise, but it's just churning hot engine bay air. It's not pulling fresh air through the condenser. The refrigerant in the condenser can't shed its heat. The pressure inside your AC system spikes, sometimes to over 400 psi. When it gets that high, a high-pressure safety switch on the line shuts the compressor down completely to prevent it from exploding. And you, sitting in the driver's seat, just feel the cold air die. The fix is a $10 15-minute job. Go to any hardware store, buy a roll of high-density, closed-cell EPDM rubber weather stripping. It must be EPDM. Do not get that cheap, gray, spongy, open-cell foam you put in a window. That stuff will soak up oil, road grime, and water, and it will disintegrate in 3 months. You want the black, dense, waterproof, heat-resistant rubber stripping. Get a bottle of isopropyl alcohol and a rag. Thoroughly clean the metal surfaces on the edge of the radiator and the condenser. Cut the EPDM foam to length and just stick it in there. Wedge it into that gap. You are building a shroud or a gasket. You are forcing every single molecule of air that fan pulls to go through the condenser first. This is not some aftermarket trick. OEMs do this from the factory, but they use cheap foam that rots and falls out after 5 years. Or worse, some mechanic doing a radiator replacement or a timing belt job just rips it out and forgets to put it back in because he's not getting paid for it. I have seen customers' cars drop 10 to 15 degrees at the vent at idle from this one fix. It is the difference between an AC system that struggles and an AC system that works. Trick number 13. Insulate the suction line under the hood. Alright, let's talk about another place you are losing cold air before it ever even gets to you. Pop the hood again and look near the firewall, usually on the passenger side. You're going to see 2 aluminum pipes running from the firewall into your AC system. One will be a small, thin, hot pipe. That's the high-pressure liquid line. Leave it alone. The other one will be a thick aluminum pipe, sometimes with a black rubber sleeve on it. When your AC is running, this pipe will be ice cold. You'll see condensation on it. This is your low-pressure suction line. It's carrying the freezing cold refrigerant back from the evaporator in your dash to the compressor to be repressurized. Now, look where this pipe is routed. It's running right through a 200-degree engine bay. It's routed inches away from a hot radiator hose, past a glowing red exhaust manifold, right next to the hot engine block. That pipe is acting like a heat sink in reverse. It is absorbing all that radiant heat. Every degree of heat that pipe absorbs is a degree of cold that doesn't make it to your vents. It's simple thermodynamics. This heat absorption forces the compressor to work harder to get the refrigerant cold again. It's a quiet, parasitic loss that robs your system of 3, 5, even 7 degrees of cooling power. The fix is almost too simple. Think of it like putting a koozie on your system. You're going to insulate that line. Go to the hardware store again. In the plumbing aisle, you'll find black foam pipe insulation. It's pre-split down the middle and it costs about $5 for a 6-foot-long piece. Get the right diameter to fit snugly over that thick aluminum pipe. You can also buy a roll of reflective, foil-backed foam insulation tape, which works even better. Your goal is to wrap just the hottest, most exposed stretch of that line. You don't need to wrap the whole thing from end to end. In fact, you shouldn't. Here's the pro tip. Leave the last 6 inches of the pipe right before it goes into the compressor unwrapped. That last little bit of heat absorption is actually useful, as it helps ensure any last drops of liquid refrigerant boil off into a gas before they hit the compressor. Compressors are designed to pump gas, not liquid. Hitting it with liquid refrigerant is a fast way to destroy it, but for the rest of that line running through the hot engine bay, wrap it. Use good quality zip ties or foil tape to secure the insulation. Make it clean. Make it tight. This isn't some backyard myth. Long-haul truckers and guys with classic hot rods have been doing this for decades. And if you look at high-end luxury cars, like a Mercedes or a Lexus, guess what? They do it from the factory. They have custom-molded foam sleeves on that exact pipe. Economy cars, they skip it to save $2. You're just finishing the job the accountants didn't want the engineers to do. And this 15-minute wrap job can give you a consistent 5-degree drop at the vents, and it protects your compressor. It's a no-brainer. Trick number 12. Unclog that tiny drain hose. This next one is a $0 fix that can save you from a $1,500 repair bill. I'm not exaggerating. I mentioned earlier that your AC system pulls humidity out of the air. That water has to go somewhere. It drips down the evaporator core, which is inside your dash, into a plastic drain pan. From that pan, there is a small rubber hose that pokes through your car's firewall and drains that water harmlessly onto the ground. This is the puddle you see under your car on a hot day. That little rubber nipple, usually sticking out of the firewall on the passenger side, or sometimes coming out of the transmission tunnel, is the MVP of your AC system. And if it clogs, you are in for a silent, creeping disaster. What does it clog with? Dirt, road grime, dust, pollen, leaves, and sometimes insects. Spiders love to build webs in there. Over time, that gunk turns into a solid plug. Now the water has nowhere to go. The drain pan fills up, and then it overflows. Where does it overflow? Into your car. It soaks into the passenger side carpet, under the padding where you can't see it. The first symptom you'll notice is a smell, a musty, moldy gym sock smell that you can't get rid of. You'll have foggy windows that are impossible to clear, but it gets so much worse. That trapped water in the pan, sloshing around, will cause the evaporator core itself to ice up. The whole core will turn into a solid block of ice. Here's the symptom for that. You'll get in your car, the AC will blow cold for about 10 or 15 minutes, and then the airflow from the vents will slowly die until almost nothing is coming out, even with the fan on high. The AC teases you, and then it quits. You park the car, the ice block melts, fills the pan again, and the whole cycle repeats, all because of a $0 clog. If you let this go, you're looking at moldy carpets that have to be replaced, a rusted-out floor pan, or you'll fry your blower motor, which is now trying to spin while submerged in water. Eventually, the evaporator core itself will corrode and leak, and that is a $1,500 job because they have to remove your entire dashboard to replace it. The fix is free. Slide under the front of your car on the passenger passenger side. Look up at the firewall, right where the floor plan angles up. You're looking for a small rubber hose, maybe half an inch wide, just poking out. It often has a little L bend or a cross slit at the tip. Gently squeeze the tip of it. If it's clogged, a disgusting gush of trapped water will pour out. If it's stubborn, poke something soft up in there. A plastic zip tie, a piece of thick weed trimmer line, a plastic straw. Never use a metal pick or a screwdriver. You can nick the rubber, or worse, puncture the plastic drain pan or the evaporator core itself. You're just aiming to break loose that little plug of dirt. Once it clears, you'll be amazed. You'll feel colder, steadier air at the vents almost immediately. You've restored 5 or 7 degrees of cooling and just dodged a bullet that could have totaled an older car. Check it once a season. It's the best free maintenance you'll ever do. Trick number 11. Clean the cabin blower motor and duct. So, your AC drain is clear, but the air volume coming out of your vents still feels weak. It feels anemic. Even with the fan on full blast, it's just not pushing. You've probably already changed your cabin air filter, and if you haven't, we'll get to that. But the problem is still there. The villain is a hidden component, tucked up behind your glove box called the blower motor. This is literally the fan. In most modern cars, it's not a flat fan blade, it's what we call a squirrel cage fan. It's a round, finned drum that's designed to move a high volume of air in a small space, and over time, it turns into a lint trap for your entire car. Even with a cabin air filter, fine dust, pollen, pet hair, and tiny bits of leaves get through. This gunk gets flung by centrifugal force onto the individual blades of that squirrel cage. It builds up layer by layer until it looks like the inside of a vacuum cleaner bag. This caked-on gunk does 2 things. First, it throws the fan off balance, causing a faint, high-pitched vibration you might feel in the dash. Second, and more importantly, it changes the shape and weight of the fan blades. It chokes the airflow. The fan is spinning, but it can't move air efficiently. Less air moving across the evaporator means warmer vents. It means longer cool-down times. It means your compressor has to work harder and run longer than it should. I've seen fans so caked with gunk that the airflow was cut by 20 to 30%. That is the difference between a decent AC and an AC that feels amazing. Cleaning it is a simple weekend win. In 90% of cars, it's right behind the glove box. You open the glove box, press in the sides to release the stops, and let it hang down. Look up in that cavity. You'll see the round plastic housing for the blower motor, usually held in by 3 small 8mm bolts or screws. Unplug the electrical connector, remove those 3 screws, and the whole motor and fan assembly drops right into your hand. Take it to your workbench. Get a vacuum cleaner with a brush attachment, some compressed air, and an old toothbrush. Gently clean between every single one of those fan blades. Get all that caked-on dust and lint out of there. You'll be disgusted by what you find. While it's out, take your vacuum hose and stick it up into the ductwork and the housing where the motor came from. Clean out any old leaves or debris that fell in there. Put it all back together. It's a 20-minute job. The result? The fan will be quieter, and the force of the air coming from your vents will be noticeably stronger. More airflow equals faster cooling. This is a no-cost, high-reward habit that most people never, ever think to check. Trick number 10. Make sure your active grille shutters are working. This one is for those of you with newer cars, say 2012 and up. Automakers, in their infinite quest for that last 0.1 mile per gallon, installed a new part called active grille shutters. These are a set of plastic horizontal flaps like Venetian blinds that sit right behind your front grille, in front of the condenser and radiator. Most of the time, especially at highway speed, these shutters close. This makes the car more aerodynamic, smoothing the airflow and saving a tiny bit of fuel. But when your car is stopped, or when the engine gets hot, or when you turn on the air conditioning, those shutters are commanded to open fully. They have to. Your AC condenser needs that airflow to get rid of heat, as we discussed. Here is the problem. These things are made of cheap plastic. They live in the worst possible place on the car, getting blasted by rocks, road salt, bugs, and snow. The little motors that run them fail. The plastic hinges get brittle and snap. A small rock can get kicked up and jam them. And if they get stuck in the closed position, your AC system is completely 100% starved of air. It's just like the radiator to condenser gap, but 10 times worse. You will have no cold air at a stoplight. None. The system pressure will spike and the compressor will shut itself off in less than a minute. On the highway, you might get some air forced through the cracks, but it will be weak. Engineers at Ford, GM, and Chrysler have all noted that a stuck closed shutter can raise your vent temperatures by 10, 12, even 15 degrees, and it gets worse. Your engine will start to run hot because the radiator isn't getting air either. Your compressor is working overtime. Your cooling fans are running on high speed constantly, burning out the fan motors and your alternator. It's a cascading failure, all from one stupid, stuck piece of plastic. Checking it is easy. With the car off, get a flashlight and look through your front grille. You should be able to see the plastic shutters. Can you wiggle them by hand? Gently. When you start the car and turn the AC on full blast, go look again. After about 30 seconds, they should be fully open. If they're stuck, you can often fix it just by removing debris. Get in there and pull out the leaves or the rock that's jamming it. Clean the hinges. If the motor is dead, that can be a more expensive fix. But in a bind, in the middle of summer, you can often just zip tie them into the fully open position. You might lose 0.1 mpg on the highway, but your AC will work again. It's an easy-to-miss problem that punches way above its weight. Trick number 9. Keep your engine's idle speed in check. Let's go back to that warm AC at a red light problem. We know airflow is one cause, but there's another, sneakier one: low idle. Your AC system is a power-hungry beast. The compressor itself takes horsepower directly from the engine via a belt. The electric cooling fans draw a massive amount of amperage. The interior blower motor draws even more. All of this relies on your engine spinning at the correct speed. At idle, your engine's computer is programmed to keep the RPMs as low as possible to save fuel and reduce emissions. This base idle is often around 650 or 700 RPM. But when you turn the AC on, the computer is supposed to see that load and bump the idle speed up by 50 or 100 RPM to compensate. It needs to do this to keep the alternator spinning fast enough to produce the voltage needed to run everything. In an older car, or even a newer car with a dirty throttle body, this doesn't happen correctly. The idle speed sags. It might drop below 700 RPM. And at that low speed, your car simply isn't spinning fast enough to power everything properly. The alternator's output drops. Voltage across the whole system falls from 14.4 volts down to 13, or even 12.5, and your AC system hates low voltage. The cooling fans slow down. The blower fan slows down. The magnetic clutch on the compressor might not get enough power to engage fully, causing it to slip and burn up. It's not just about airflow. It's about the power to run the fans, the clutch, and the blower. And your dashboard won't throw a check engine light. It just gets warmer inside. You'll see the headlights dim when the compressor kicks on. You'll feel a shudder. The fix, in most cases, is a simple cleaning. Get a can of throttle body cleaner, not brake cleaner. Remove the plastic intake tube from your throttle body. Open the metal throttle plate with your finger and spray that cleaner on a rag. Wipe out all the black carbon gunk that is built up around the edges of the plate. That gunk is what restricts the air and makes the computer lose its idle position. After a good cleaning, the engine will be able to hold a solid, steady 750 or 800 RPM with the AC on. Your alternator will be happy, your voltage will be stable, and your AC will get the juice it needs to stay cold. No more fanning yourself at every stoplight. Trick number 8. Fix worn door seals and weather stripping. Your AC system is in a constant war against the outside world, and its biggest enemy is hot, humid air leaking into the cabin. You can have the most powerful AC on Earth, but if your doors don't seal, you're losing the fight. Those black rubber weather strips that line your doors and trunk, they don't last forever. They get cracked by the sun, flattened from being slammed, and torn from getting snagged on a seatbelt. These cracked, peeling, or collapsed seals are like invisible holes in your cabin. They are a constant leak. Hot, 95-degree air is being sucked in as you drive, and your cold, 45-degree air is being pushed out. Your AC compressor now has to work overtime, not just to cool the air, but to dry out all that new, humid air that's leaking in. It can slow down your AC's initial pull-down time time by 3 to 5 minutes. It can raise the best temperature your vents can produce by 7 to 10 degrees. Even tiny leaks matter. Automotive engineers found that a single collapsed door seal adds enough airflow load to cost you an extra 15 liters of fuel per summer just to run the AC. For EV drivers, that's a few miles of range chipped off your battery every single week. It also triggers all those other side effects you'll recognize. That annoying, high-pitched wind whistle on the freeway. That musty smell after it rains because water is leaking in and soaking the carpet. Foggy windows in the winter. It's all connected. The fix is straightforward. Go to a dealership or an online parts store and get new OEM quality seals for your doors. Yes, they can be pricey, sometimes $50 to $100 per door, but they are molded to fit perfectly. You just pull the old cracked one out of the channel and press the new one in. It's a 10-minute job. If you're on a budget, you can try a DIY fix. Get some $15 automotive bulb tape or D-shaped weather stripping from a hardware store. Clean your existing seal and stick this on top of it or next to it to build it back up. It might not look as pretty, but it will restore the seal. It's one of those upgrades that sounds boring, but the second you do it and shut your door, you'll hear the difference. The car will sound more solid, like a bank vault. And your AC will finally stop feeling weak, because the cold air you paid for is staying in the car. Trick number 7. Clean or replace your ambient temperature sensor. Your car's air conditioning system has a brain. It's an electronic control unit, and to make decisions, it needs information. The most important piece of information it needs is the outside air temperature. To get this, there is a small $20 sensor called the ambient air temperature sensor. It's usually located right behind your front grille, or sometimes under the front bumper, clipped into the support. It's right out there in the wind. If this sensor is working correctly, it tells the AC's brain, hey, it's 98 degrees out here, you need to work at 100% capacity. Engage the compressor fully, turn the fans on high. But because of its location, this sensor gets filthy. It gets caked in road grime, splattered with bugs, and coated in a film of dirt. And that layer of gunk insulates it. It starts to read wrong. It might tell the computer it's 80 degrees outside when it's really 95. Or worse, water gets in, it corrodes, and it fails completely, sending a ridiculous reading like 37 degrees or -40. If the AC brain thinks it's only 80 degrees, it will cool less aggressively. It will short-cycle the compressor, turning it on and off to avoid what it thinks would be freezing the evaporator. Even if you're roasting and have the dial set to max cold, the computer is overriding you because its primary sensor is lying to it. You get lukewarm vents, a compressor that barely runs, and a whole lot of frustration. Sometimes it's not broken, just dirty. Get a can of electronics cleaner or MAF sensor cleaner. Do not use brake cleaner. It's too harsh and will melt the plastic. Gently unclip the sensor. Spray it down. Use a soft brush, like a toothbrush, to gently scrub the grime off. Dry it with low-pressure air and clip it back in. If it's still stuck showing a crazy temperature on your dashboard display, just replace it. They are almost always under $40, and they just clip in. It's a 5-minute fix. This one tiny sensor controls compressor duty cycle. It controls the recirculation flaps, and it controls the fan speed. Cleaning it can instantly drop your vent temps by 10 degrees. It's the HVAC version of a hard reboot, and it forces the system to stop being lazy. Trick number 6. Turn off Eco Mode. This one is a simple button press, but it's a critical one. If you want maximum cold, that little green button on your dash with the leaf on it, or the button that says Econ or Eco Mode, that is your enemy. When you press that button, you are telling your car's computer, I value fuel economy above all else. I value it more than my own personal comfort. And the computer says, okay, boss, and it immediately and deliberately sabotages your air conditioning. It's not a myth. It's written right into the software. When Eco Mode is on, the computer limits how cold the air can get. It cuts the compressor's power. It tells the compressor not to run as long. It slows down your cooling fans. On some cars, it will even intentionally blend in a little bit of hot air from the heater core to keep the temperature from getting too cold, all to save a few pennies on gas or a few miles of EV range. You're driving around, sweating, thinking your AC is broken or needs a recharge. You're thinking, I need to take this in. No, you don't. You just need to tell the car to stop protecting you from comfort. Turn Eco Mode off. On most cars, the difference is instant. You will feel the air get 5 to 9 degrees colder almost immediately. You'll hear the compressor engage more aggressively. On hybrids and EVs, the difference is even more massive. Those cars are obsessed with range, and the AC is the first thing they sacrifice. This habit might cost you $1 or $2 in fuel over a whole week of driving, but it will save your sanity every single time you step into a 140-degree car after it's been sitting in the sun. You paid for that AC. Don't let a piece of software turn it off. Trick number 5. Apply high-quality window tint or UV film. So far, we've focused on making your AC produce colder air. Now, let's talk about reducing the work your AC has to do in the first place. Your car is a greenhouse. The single biggest source of heat in your cabin is not the engine, it's the sun. Sunlight, or solar energy, streams through your windows and bakes every surface. Your dashboard, your steering wheel, your seats, they absorb this energy and then radiate it back out, turning the cabin into an oven. Glass, by itself, is terrible at blocking this. It lets in over 50% of the sun's heat, and once that heat is in, it's trapped. Your AC has to fight this constant, relentless, radiant heat load. A quality window tint is the shield. And I am not talking about that dark, purple, bubbly, $50 tint job you see on old Civics. I am talking about modern, high-tech ceramic or infrared reflective film. This is the key. It's not about making your windows dark. It's about blocking the heat you can't see. Sunlight is made of 3 things: visible light, what we see; ultraviolet or UV, what causes sunburns; and infrared or IR, what we feel as heat. That cheap, dyed, limo black tint, it blocks visible light, but it absorbs infrared heat, getting hot and radiating it into the car. It's not very effective. A modern ceramic tint, or film like 3M's Crystalline series, is engineered with nanoparticles of ceramic that are designed to reflect infrared light. You can get a film that is almost perfectly clear, like a 70% or 80% VLT or visual light transmission, that blocks more heat than the darkest limo tint. A good ceramic film can reject up to 64% of total solar energy. That means your dashboard, your steering wheel, and your seats will be 20, even 30 degrees cooler to the touch. Your cabin will start at a much lower temperature, meaning your AC has a huge head start. It doesn't have to work as hard. It cools the cabin down faster and then cycles off, saving fuel and wear. This is a real, measurable 5% improvement in your car's real-world fuel efficiency during the summer. And the best part? Once it's on forever. You never have to think about it again. It just works. Trick number 4. Replace that weak AC relay and check for voltage drop. This one is a little more technical, but it is a huge source of failure that most mechanics misdiagnose. They'll just swap the compressor. In your car's underhood fuse box, there's a small $15 plastic cube called a relay. You probably have a dozen of them. One of them is the AC compressor relay, or AC clutch relay. This relay's job is simple. When you press the AC button, the computer sends a tiny electrical signal to this relay. The relay then closes a high-power switch, sending a full 12 to 14 volts of battery power directly to the magnetic clutch on the front of your compressor, causing it to click and engage. Here's the problem. That relay switches on and off thousands and thousands of times. It lives in a hot, vibrating engine bay. The internal contacts get corroded. They get arced and pitted. When this happens, the relay still works. You'll still hear a click, but it starts to resist electricity. It's like a rusty water pipe. Instead of sending 14 volts to your compressor clutch, it's only sending 12 or 11. This voltage drop is a killer. That magnetic clutch needs full battery voltage to snap shut with hundreds of pounds of clamping force. When it only gets 11 volts, it engages weakly. It slips. This slipping clutch generates a massive amount of friction and heat. It overheats, which causes the clutch to slip more. The compressor never gets up to full speed. Your cold air fades fast, especially on a hot day, and eventually, that slipping clutch will burn itself out completely, and you will need a new compressor, all because of a $15 relay. Here's how you check it. Get a cheap multimeter. Set it to DC volts. Start the car, AC on full blast. Find the electrical connector right on the AC compressor clutch. Carefully touch the multimeter probes to the two wires. You should be reading almost the exact same voltage as your battery. If your battery is at 14.2 volts, you should see at least 13.8 or 14.0 volts at that clutch. If you see 12 volts or 11.5, you've got a voltage drop. The first and cheapest fix? Go to your fuse box. Find the AC relay. Find another relay right next to it with the exact same part number, like the horn relay or the fog light relay, something non-critical, and just swap them. If your AC suddenly blows 10 degrees colder and the clutch clicks with a solid, loud thunk instead of a weak tick, you found your problem. Go buy a new relay. You just saved yourself $1,000. Trick number 3. Replace the cabin air filter. This should be obvious, but you would be shocked how many people, even people who change their own oil, forget this exists. A dirty cabin air filter won't just make your car smell like old gym socks. It will silently cut your AC's airflow by up to 40%. This filter is the lung of your HVAC system. All the air, whether it's from outside or being recirculated, has to pass through this paper filter before it gets to your blower fan and your evaporator. After 1 year, it's clogged with dust, pollen, leaves, insects, and road grime. It becomes a solid, damp, moldy brick. This is like trying to cool your house, but you've sealed all the vents and left only a 1-inch crack. The blower motor strains. It's spinning on high, but it can't move any air. It's sucking so hard against that clog that it pulls more electricity, straining your alternator. And because you have so little air moving across the evaporator core, it takes forever to chill the cabin. Your vents might feel 5 to 10 degrees warmer, not because the AC is weak, but because the volume of cold air is so low. Swapping this filter takes 7 minutes in 99% of cars. It's almost always behind the glove box. You drop the glove box down, you unclip a little plastic door, you slide the old disgusting filter out, and you slide the new $15 one in. Make sure you have the airflow arrow pointing in the right direction. It's printed on the side of the filter. If your filter is damp, dusty, or smells, it's overdue. The moment you switch it out and turn the fan on, you'll be blasted in the face. The force of the air will be double what it was. Your cabin will cool down twice as fast. It saves fuel, it avoids mold, and it delivers that, wow, this feels colder already moment with no tools required. Trick number 2. Cap off the heater core in hot climates. This is a more advanced trick, but for those of you living in places like Arizona, Texas, or Florida, this is a game changer. Your heater core is sabotaging your AC, and it's doing it silently from behind the dash. Here's how. Your heater core is just another small radiator. It sits inside the same HVAC box as your AC evaporator, often just inches away. Hot, 200-degree engine coolant is constantly circulating through this core 365 days a year, even when your heat is off. When you set your dial to cold, a little plastic door, the blend door, is supposed to swing over and seal off that hot heater core, directing all the air through the cold evaporator. But that seal is never perfect. It's usually a cheap foam gasket on a plastic door. It leaks. And that 200-degree box is radiating heat into the entire HVAC plenum. It's like trying to run your home AC while leaving the oven on with the door open. On a scorching hot day, this heat soak adds up. One test on a Cadillac showed the vent temperature dropped from 50 degrees down to 43 degrees, a 7-degree drop, just from stopping the hot coolant from flowing. The fix? You're going to bypass it, just for the summer. Go to the firewall in your engine bay. You'll see 2 rubber hoses, usually about 3/4 inch thick, running from the engine into the firewall. These are your heater hoses. One is the inlet, one is the outlet. You can do this 2 ways. The cheap way, get 2 brass plugs or caps from the hardware store. Drain a little coolant, disconnect the hoses, and plug them. The smart way, go to a parts store and buy a $15 heater hose shut-off valve. You can get a simple manual one. You splice this valve into the inlet hose. the one that gets hotter. In the summer, you reach under the hood and turn the valve to closed. No more hot water. In the fall, before you need your defroster, you open it back up. The result is instantly colder air. You'll get colder air faster, especially when you first start the car. Drivers in desert states swear by this. The compressor cycles less, your footwell area is cooler, and you can finally make Max AC mean what it says. Just remember, no heat means no defrost. This is a summer-only mod, but for near zero cost, you can shave 7 to 12 degrees off your vent temps. Trick number 1. Refill your refrigerant for factory-level cold. We've gone through 14 tricks to optimize the system you have, but what if your system is just plain thirsty? If your AC used to blast icy, painful to the touch air, and now it just sort of cools, there's a very good chance it's not broken. It's just low on refrigerant. This is not a leak in the way you think. Your car's AC is not a sealed system like your refrigerator. It's a hermetically sealed system, which means it's designed to leak very, very slowly. It leaks through the microscopic pores in the rubber hoses. It leaks through the O-ring seals that flex with engine vibration. It leaks through the compressor's front shaft seal. Over a few years, you can lose up to 5 or 7% of your refrigerant per year. That's normal. But after 5 or 6 years, you're down 30 or 40%. And that is enough to raise your vent temps by 10 to 15 degrees. Your compressor has to run constantly, but there's not enough Freon, which is usually R134A or R1234YF, to carry the heat. The fix is a $40 DIY recharge kit from any auto parts store. Get one can. Get the one with a built-in gauge on the hose. This is critical. Here's how you do it safely. Start the car, turn the AC on full blast, max fan, max cold, recirc on. Pop the hood. Find your low side AC port. This is always the thicker aluminum pipe, the suction line we insulated earlier. It will have a blue or black plastic cap on it with an L on top. The other port on the thin pipe is the high side, with a red H cap. Your recharge can will only fit on the low side port. This is a safety feature. Unscrew the low side L cap, shake the can, start the car. Attach the quick coupler on the hose to the port. It just clicks on. Now, read the gauge. On a warm, 80-degree day with the compressor running, you want that low side pressure to be in the green zone, which is typically between 35 and 40 psi. If it's down at 20 or 25 psi, it's low. Hold the can upright and slowly squeeze the trigger for 5 to 10 seconds. Then let go and watch the gauge. The pressure will rise. Wait for the compressor to cycle and let the pressure stabilize. Then add a little more. You are slowly topping it off. You're aiming for that sweet spot, around 35 psi. Do not overdo it. Too much pressure is just as bad as too little. Overcharging will make it blow hot and can damage your compressor. You're just topping it off. That added refrigerant also carries Vital PAG oil, which lubricates the seals and the inside of the compressor. You'll hear the compressor quiet down. You'll feel the vent air get instantly colder. You just brought your system back to factory performance in 10 minutes. And now, for that final, forgotten screw. We've done all this work. We've optimized airflow, we've cleaned the fans, we've charged the system. But there is one tiny fastener buried behind your glove box that can undo all of it. It's one of the screws holding your HVAC blend door actuator. This is the little electric motor that moves the blend door we talked about, the one that directs air to either the hot heater core or the cold evaporator. This little motor is usually held onto the plastic HVAC box by 2 or 3 small screws. Over time, with years of dashboard vibration and temperature swings, one of those tiny fasteners can loosen, just a quarter turn. The result is that the entire actuator flexes when it tries to move the door. It can't get the leverage to fully seal the door against the hot side. Even when you are on max AC, that door is still cracked open, just a tiny bit. And that tiny crack is letting 200-degree air from your heater core constantly bleed into your cold airstream. You will never find this. It's not broken. The motor works. The door moves. It just leaks. Most owners never check it. Most mechanics would never find it. They just tell you your evaporator is inefficient. So, while you have your glove box off to change your cabin air filter and check your blower motor, find that blend door actuator. A quick search for your car's model will show you where it is. Put a screwdriver or a small socket on those mounting screws, and just check them. Give them a gentle turn. If you find one that's loose and you snug it down that last quarter turn, you will hear the door thunk fully closed for the first time in years. That, right there, is the difference between lukewarm air and true, deep, chill, ice-cold comfort. And there you have it. 15 tricks to take back your cold air, plus the one screw that holds it all together. You didn't spend $1,000 at the shop. You spent an afternoon. You used your head, and you used your hands. This is what this channel is all about. It's not just about saving money. It's about knowing your machine. It's about beating the system that's designed to take your money for simple fixes you can do yourself. Now that your AC is blowing colder than a landlord's heart, why stop there? Let's talk about the rest of the car. Click this video right here on the screen. In that video, I am going to show you the simple 10-minute habits that will push your engine, your transmission, and your entire car past 500,000 miles. Fewer repairs, better performance, and zero dealership drama. Click it. I'll see you in there.